Hello again. This is day 2 of the C8 Hackathon. So let me show you what I've got planned. Alright, so what I need to do is I need to make another door skin. I don't need to make the whole door skin. I actually only need part of it. But as long as I'm making it, I figure I might as well make the whole thing. At worst, I waste some fiberglass material. No big deal. I'd rather have it and not need it than the other way. So let's see what I've got. Okay, so the first step is I need to coat this mold, right here, the orange thing, with something so that the fiberglass doesn't stick. In the past, I've used this film tin Pardal. That's PVA. The disadvantage of it is you're supposed to put a light coat on first, let it dry for 20 minutes, then put a heavy coat and let it dry for 30 to 40 minutes. So it works, but it takes a little time. I'm going to try, this is the first time I try it, the one coat. Supposedly I can just put it on with one coat and be done with it. So I'm going to give that a try. Let's see, what else do I have? Okay, so after I put that on, it has to dry completely to where when you touch it, none of it comes off on your finger. Then once I've done that, I need to put on the gel coat. So right there you can see the gel coat. Now the gel coat's white. This is, again, another experiment. This whole thing is an experiment this time. I'd like for it to be orange when it's done. I should have used tooling gel coat because it's orange, but I didn't think of it, so I already ordered that. So they don't make the coloring in orange, but they make red and yellow, and red and yellow make orange. So what I'm going to do is mix the red, the orange, mix it with some gel coat, and put that on there. Once I've got the gel coat on there, the next thing is, of course, the fiberglass resin. So I just use the Bondo fiberglass resin. It's not the most economical, but it's easy to get. I can go to Walmart or Home Depot or Lowe's or any of those. It's $40 a gallon. So it's a little expensive, but it works for what I want. And I don't have to store the stuff like I would if I could bought it in bulk in a barrel or something like that. It does cure no matter what. And so that's why I don't want to, I've actually had the cans harden inside the can after I've opened them and used them. So I didn't want to waste a big barrel. Plus I'd have to move it and all that. The other thing is the fiberglass mat and cloth. So the mat is thicker and heavier, and it gives more strength. It's, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 5 times thicker than the cloth. The disadvantage of the mat is it's hard to get it smooth. Now, against the surface it's going to go on, of course it's going to be smooth because it's going to lay on it. But the back side of it tends to be very rough because of the fibers. So what I typically do is I then put on one layer of the fiberglass cloth, use a roller to roll it and get all the air bubbles out. And when I'm done, the back surface is the texture of the cloth, not the rough texture of the mat. Not a big deal, it's just a personal preference. And the other reason why is because if any of those fibers stick out, you can get stabbed by them and it hurts. So this makes it to where that's not an issue anymore. Then of course I buy the cheap chip brushes by a case, which is like 144 or something like that, a gross. So I buy those. Now I'm going to try something different this time. Most times what people do is they wax the mold 5 times to make sure that there's no surface mist and nothing sticks to it. Then they put the PVA on, then they put the gel coat on, then they put the fiberglass on. So one of the problems is when I use the spray on, I actually have a little sprayer that I use to put the PVA on. Because it's a wax surface and it's water-based, it bubbles up or beads up on the surface. So it's really hard to get that first layer nice and smooth. What you have to do is you have to mist it on and accept the fact that it's all bubbly, and then the next layer is the one that smooths it out. So what I'm going to try to do this time is not wax the mold and just put the PVA on directly. What I'm going to do instead is I am going to use the wax here, and I'm going to wax the back side of the PVA, the part that's exposed. So I'm going to put the PVA on, then I'm going to wax it, then I'm going to put on the fiberglass. I don't know if that'll work. It's just an experiment. The last time I didn't wax the surface, I just used the PVA. I did not wax the PVA, and the parts came off, but they didn't pop off like they will if you wax everything heavily. So I'm going to try this. The alternative is if you don't use wax at all, the PVA is water soluble, especially in hot water. So you could run hot water over there. It would dissolve the PVA and the parts would release then. But again, I'm trying to find the easiest way to do this. Okay, one of the things to warn you about is the gel coat, it hardens. So if you open the container, use it, put the lid back on, what happened to the previous one is the lid literally glued itself on there. So I had to actually destroy the lid to get to the rest of the gel coat. So what I'm going to do from now on is I'm going to put a piece of plastic film, saran wrap, plastic wrap on there in between the lid and the container, and hopefully that should keep that from happening. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make that rocker panel. I've still got to go to Home Depot and get a piece of sheet metal, cut it to length 8 feet, bend it 90 degrees, and then do the same thing I'm doing here, except that fiberglass doesn't stick to that sheet metal, I found out. And it gives a really nice, smooth surface. So I don't need to mess with the PVA. I can put the gel coat on directly, put the fiberglass on it, and be done with it. So I'll be doing that later today. All right, that's it. So I will get back with you after I'm finished with all of this and show you the results. Bye.